Hey, what's up, guys? It's Foster from English no Kuru. So, just really fast before we get started today, I have two things I want to tell you about. First, Alexia is coming to the United States this week, technically next week. Obviously, I am super happy about this, and you should be too, because when Alexia and I are together physically, that just means that we will have a lot more podcasts. Everything will have higher quality, and just everything is better in general when Alexia is around. So while she is preparing for her trip, I decided to call one of my good friends to come on the show. Tony Marsh is the founder of langmatrix.com, and he is really one of the most interesting voices in the field of linguistics, and just the way he thinks about language is really, really cool. So I decided to bring Tony on the show to help me with some of our Ask Me Anything questions from Sound School. So for those of you who don't know, Sound School is our pronunciation and conversation masterclass, where Alexia and I work personally with all of our students. And it's really awesome. It's definitely the coolest thing we do. But anyway, we have a section in Sound School called Ask Me Anything, where our students can literally ask us any questions they have about English, pronunciation, travel, whatever. So if you want to participate in Sound School, if you're really serious about improving your English, you can start working personally with me and Alexia, starting for just 39 reais per month. That's like the cost of dinner at a restaurant, at least in Rio de Janeiro or São Paulo. Okay, so anyway, after a quick word from our sponsors, we'll get started with the show. Thanks, guys. This episode of English no Rádio is brought to you by our friends at Cambly. Cambly is one of the coolest, if not the coolest, online platform to have real conversations with real professional native teachers whenever, wherever you want. Seriously, Cambly is an incredible service, and on top of that, they are just really, really great people, and our students are having a lot of fun and success with Cambly. And the best thing is, you can try Cambly today for free. Yes, 100% for free. No credit card information or anything like that. Simply go to Cambly.com or download the Cambly app on your phone and use the promotional code Inglês no Cru Podcast to get your first class for free. Again, go to Cambly.com or download the app and use the promo code Inglês no Cru Podcast to get your first class with a professional native speaker today. Okay, let's get on with the show. Hey, what's up, guys? Foster from English no Rádio. Welcome to another episode. Today, I'm joined by the one, the only Tony Marsh from the Tony Marsh Method. Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. And Tony, as you know, I have a big Siberian Husky jumping on me right now.
Yes, you do.
So that's just something that we will have to deal with. Cool. So, Tony, you're in Chicago right now, right?
I am.
Are you freezing to death with a...
Not today. It's a balmy 40.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. Last week it was minus 23, so we'll take this.
Jesus. Is that just like painfully cold?
It's weird. It's like, and here's the feeling too. I feel like once it gets to 15, like above 15, I feel like there's not that big of a difference between 15 and minus 15. But there is. But you don't feel it. You're like just almost in like some sort of bewilderment.
That sounds terrible.
The air feels empty and it's sunny. It's bizarre. It's apocalyptic.
Oh, man. That sounds...
Kind of fun.
Could be fun in a weird, soul-sucking, self-deprecating way.
Yeah, man.
Cool. So, Tony, the main reason I wanted to have you on the show today is, so in our course Sound School, we have a section called Ask Me Anything, where literally our students can just submit questions and
Cool.
ask us anything.
Hmm.
And over the year, we built up a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think a lot of my opinions are just kind of, yeah, it's just my opinion. So I really wanted to get the opinion of someone that I really consider an expert.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just want to dive straight into some of the questions and
Let's dive.
we can talk about them, we can agree, disagree.
Yeah.
Cool. So
I'm hoping we disagree and have to duke it out.
oh, that'd be awesome.
A
Because then
little
we
bit.
could actually both leave smarter and more knowledgeable people.
Exactly.
Cool. So Tony, one of the questions that we always get some variation of this question is just the idea of nervousness or
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah.
That it's really the catch 22 because a lot of people know a lot of English, but when it comes to having conversations, they
Right.
just get so anxious.
Sure.
And I think we both know like the key to having better conversations is having more conversations.
Yeah.
But what would you recommend to those people that just aren't quite getting there? They're still freezing up in conversations. They're nervous.
Right. Yeah, it's a good question, and I'm no stranger to that. I've definitely felt that. I've heard it called linguists' anxiety when you're like, "Oh, I'm going to try out my English now. There's some Americans next to me. I'm going to try out my Portuguese with some Brazilians, and sometimes it goes really well. Sometimes it doesn't go well, which is normal.
Yeah,
So I've
it's a
had
real
those.
thing.
I mean, so I've had those times where I spoke some Arabic with someone, and then I got invited to dinner, and I was like, "Sweet Arabic! It's awesome to speak a different language. Awesome to speak English, and or the language you're learning." And then I've had those times where someone's like, "Oh, they poo poo you," like they say, you're like, "What did I do wrong?"
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's important to note that even people that are, supposedly good at languages,
Right.
in quotations, like I lived in Madrid for over a year, and my first 6 months, I was literally just like a nervous wreck the whole time,
Sure.
like
Sure.
walking into bars, like, shit, what should I say? Okay, I'm just not going to order anything.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, the comedian Jerry Seinfeld has this joke where he's like, the number one biggest fear that people have is public speaking, which in language speaking counts. I'm not saying you're on a stage, but it's still public speaking. I mean, it's different than you're not just in the shower. It's not just in front of the mirror. And the second biggest fear is death. So that's apparent. That's supposedly so the joke from Jerry Simon. He's like, so that means more people at a funeral would rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy.
That was a good Seinfeld imitation at the same time. That means that more people be in the casket than the eulogy.
Right. It's like, hey, no, actually that's not Jerry. I can't do it. To deal with.
Yeah.
Man. So it's wide. It's for sure. It's wide. I mean, it's everyone's facing it. I think just knowing that helps. You know what I mean? Just knowing there's nothing wrong with me because I'm nervous. I mean, Tony said he gets nervous. Foster, the man, he gets nervous. Everyone. So if everyone's getting nervous, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. I try to equate it to like mental health or something. Like if you're going to therapy for the first time, you're thinking like, oh God, I'm a crazy person. And then invariably after your first therapy session, you're like, there's this wave of relief because you realize like, oh, this is a normal thing. It's
Right.
hard at first.
Right. Foreign language learning therapy is kind of could be a thing. It kind of is a thing too, as for us language teachers. No, like you definitely deal with people, especially in group classes, but not even just group class. You got people. I mean, it's something you deal with all the time. So I figure if you're dealing with it all, if it's that ubiquitous, if it's that commonplace, then at least you can think to yourself, well, maybe it's not. There's not something wrong with me.
Exactly.
It's just a thing. It's just a thing that everyone faces, and you get over it.
Yeah. I think that's some tough love, but I think it's the best advice that for this situation is
right.
You got to dive into it and it's going to get better and you're not alone.
Looking back on those times when it hasn't gone that good, right? When I'm trying out my Portuguese, you're doing Spanish in Madrid and all those things. And the other person, they get that you're not a native speaker. So, and we know, they know that, you know that. And so something that I've noticed, and I find this to be helpful too, it's that when I speak a foreign language to someone, I might be asking them, "Hey, where's the bathroom?" But there's also like a meta message that's being put across, and that meta message, it's saying, it's why am I speaking to you in this language? Like, if I know you speak English, but I still want to speak Arabic. I mean, your Arabic's better than my, or rather, your English is better than my Arabic, Portuguese, whatever it is.
Right.
The question is, the implied question is, why am I even doing this? Am I looking crazy right now?
Yeah.
And so an approach that I've started to take, and I've tried to coach people with this too, is this: I'm not speaking the foreign language with you because I think my foreign language is good, right? I'm not like, oh, I'm here to facilitate communication with my, you know. To the contrary, I like to take this mental position, and even sometimes like an expressed position. Like, I'll even say something like this, like, I can learn from you.
Yeah.
I'm speaking Portuguese not because I think my Portuguese is great, because I want it to get better.
Exactly.
I want to practice, and then they're going to go, oh, okay, cool. I'll humor you. Like, I'll speak back with you. Otherwise, I just would have switched to English and been on our way. But no, I get what's going on here. And then what happens is, instead of having someone be maybe a bit feeling a little bit of pushback, like, no, I speak English. What are you,
Yeah.
The opposite effect happens, and that person feels special. They feel good because they realize that they're in a position where they can help you just by speaking their own native language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I like to trigger that sort of helpfulness out of people, and it's a position. It's a humble thing too. It's like, falo pouco de português. Quero praticar português. No,
Yeah.
I'm not, and then the person, oh, I can help you. And then you find a teacher in everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. The way I kind of approach this is just in general, I think it's better to be honest and upfront about your situation. Like, if you're trying to hide the fact, like, okay, I don't speak Portuguese that well, I'm just going to kind of mumble some words and meander along my day. Eventually, the cat's out of the bag anyway. So I think you should just be like, hey, I'm learning your language. Can you help?
Exactly. I love those phrases. Quero praticar. Pode me ajudar? You know what I mean? And then, then it gets everyone's on the same team at that point, as opposed to, like you said, trying to hide it. Then you start to dig yourself into a hole, like, oh, I have to try to keep this up. You put yourself on tilt, to use that poker term, right? Where you lose a hand and then you start losing more. You kind of, above board. I'm here to learn, speak a little. I find like that attitude helps.
Absolutely. So just summarizing, to relieve anxiety and nervousness, I think the two big points we hit on are, first, be upfront, honest, kind of having a mindset of learning, and also recognize that you're not the only one going through this.
Yep.
Everyone does.
Yep.
Sweet. That really helped me clarify some things. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of Inglês no Cru Rádio. If you like what we do, if you want to support the show, here's what you can do. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Android, wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps other people discover the show. And you can sign up for our VIP newsletter. So each time we release new courses, early discounts for Sound School, new worksheets, special discounts, the people on our newsletter are the first to know. So if you are interested in the things we are doing, go to inglesnuecru.com and sign up. And as always, keep up the good fight and lose well. Até já.